As South Africa marks Money Smart Week, the message is clear. Financial literacy isn't just about knowing your numbers. It's about having the power to make better choices. As millions of households struggle with debt, limited savings and rising financial pressure, how financially smart are we really? And what practical steps can one take to regain control of their money? To expand the conversation, we're joined by Sarah Nicholson, who's Head of Customer Experience at JustMoney. Sarah, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. The numbers are sobering, aren't they? 61% of South Africans say they struggle to make ends meet each month. Why are so many households still living from one paycheck to the next?
I think it's really important to understand that having more financial knowledge gives people the confidence to make better choices and ultimately help create better numbers so that people can live better lives. What we do see is that people, 63% of respondents in various surveys actually indicate that living in households with income of more than 30,000 per month are actually more financially literate than compared to 34% in households with less than 5,000 income per month. So I think because South Africa also has a highly sophisticated financial sector which supplies savings, credit, insurance products, many of these products are quite complex and do require financial knowledge for their appropriate use and to avoid customer exploitation. And by not having the right financial information, it can impact how people manage their money on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, do you think financial literacy alone is enough to change such a reality? I mean, should it not go beyond just the literacy part of it?
I think that absolutely. I mean, it's also why Money Smart Week is taking this collaborative approach with various government organizations to create awareness to help individuals and households unlock opportunities and just general improve their financial well-being. But of course, it does start at the very basic level from school and upwards in terms of making sure that we build really strong foundational good money habits that ultimately will help. But of course, there's many economical factors that play a role in this and make it challenging for many households.
What do good money habits look like?
You know, I think it's really important to have some good foundational understanding of how to manage your money. So one of the first things one needs to look at is understanding where your money goes. You really want to look at tracking your income and expenses for a month to see where your money is being spent. Often we're spending without having awareness of what's taking place. And the next step is to create a very realistic budget. You want to be quite clear on what your needs are versus your wants and making sure that you're prioritizing your essentials, your food, your transport, school fees, and then look at including savings. And once you know how much you're actually spending, you need to look at adjusting your spending habits if you find that you're spending more than you're earning. And a very important tip is to make sure that you're paying yourself first. Consistency here really matters. I think saving something for yourself every single month, and no matter how small it is a very good habit and helps you build up an emergency fund, which can save you should any emergency things happen, or build up some money for you to spoil you and your family.
You say it's important to really take stock of how one is spending more than they're earning. Debt repayments are eating up more than 40% of after-tax income for 38 of the respondents that were surveyed. At what point does borrowing money become financially dangerous?
You know, we typically say that you shouldn't be spending more than 40% of your after-tax income on debt payments. So if customers or people are finding that that is what's taking place and they're actually spending more, then it is definitely a red flag and something that one should address. It is important to then understand where you're spending your money and, again, try and avoid getting into that situation by paying yourself first, having a very realistic budget and understanding where you're spending your money.
And if you could perhaps give some advice to South Africans who are, wanting to make some changes with this Money Smart Week that genuinely could have a big impact on their financial future, what kind of advice would you give?
I think making sure that you educate yourself and understand what are the differences between savings, investings, comparing before you commit to any solutions, really trying to see if you can avoid getting into credit for groceries or any basic needs. You should only really be using credit if it is something like studying or buying a home, or really big purchases that will invest or help your future. If you are finding that you are leaning towards credit to make it through every single month, then it is time to really take a step back, get some help potentially, or look at debt counseling if that's something that you need. Speak to someone, a financial advisor, reach out to different platforms that can actually assist you. And just, make sure from that perspective, you are aware of how you are managing your money.
We often hear advice like save and invest, but when households are struggling with food, transport and debt, that kind of advice sounds a little bit far-fetched. What are the first 3 money habits ordinary South Africans should prioritize before they even think about investing? I mean, you spoke about the importance of paying oneself first, but what are the other ways around it?
I think a really critical part of paying yourself first is making sure that you build an emergency fund. This does sound challenging, but like we said, consistency really matters. So it's important to build a habit of saving a small amount every single month. Ultimately, the goal is to try and save enough so that you cover 3 months worth of essentials expenses. This then reduces that need to borrow when life throws you curveballs, and really understand the true cost of debt. So before taking out a loan or using credit, you need to understand and calculate the total amount you're going to repay, not just the monthly installment. That can help motivate to ensure that you are putting money aside, again, no matter how small. Lean into different saving tools. Stokvels are really popular within South Africa as well. There are different ways to save money that you can use to help build up a buffer to prevent life happening and really taking a big chunk out of your monthly income.
Very well. Thank you very much for that sound advice. Sarah Nicholson, who's head of customer experience at JustMoney, really just speaking about smart ways to save and building up an emergency fund to avoid going into debt.